You guys for joining the Antioch of Lansing or Antioch Church of Lansing's College Fellowship. I'm Tiana. We are joined with our special guest, Myles Baker, who is a level 2 program manager at Amazon, and is a graduate of Central Michigan University with a degree in supply chain management and marketing. And you graduated with honors, which is amazing, magna cum laude. So
Oh,
it's what I'm aiming for with my master's right now.
Fire up, fire up.
Yeah. So we just have a series of questions for you. And we'll start with Dom.
Yeah, so I'm Dominic Mason, a recent Central Michigan graduate as well. Right now, I'm current logistics analyst at Kimberly Clark in Wisconsin.
Okay.
First question we got for you today, Myles, is can you tell us about a time when your faith was tested during your journey?
I got a lot of examples of that. I think just this whole process for me. So, as you guys know, I'm from Lansing. My job has me currently in Austin, Texas. That's about 1,100 miles away from home. I would say just about everything of the process has really tested me, all in a good way. But I'm a very big like family person, and I think this is cool. This opportunity has been great, but it's pulled me away from my family, everything that I've been comfortable with, everything that I've known. I went from living in Michigan to Texas, different climates, physically, socially. So I would say that I feel like the whole journey has just really been like a testament of my faith and just like staying the course. But just in general, like coming from my job directly into Amazon corporate was a very, very big jump. My job required me to be a lot more analytical regarding data. Database has been what we learned in business class at school.
Yeah, yeah.
So that has been a challenge. I think just working in an environment where I'm always the youngest person, probably the only Black person, has been a challenge. But I think the biggest thing I've noticed about all these challenges is like how good it has been for me to get out of my comfort zone. And so I think I've seen the most growth in myself probably since I've lived here, just because there is no more mom and dad holding my hand, and I've had to figure everything out.
Yeah. Mm.
Village.
Those are some crazy challenges. I mean, I get all that for sure. I don't know how I'll do with all the family. I'm so family oriented too, so I don't know how I'll do all the
Yeah, it's been
1,100 miles away home.
The big adjustment.
Now I was gonna say, so like super, super recently, this is just for y'all, so I actually like have to get a new car, which is a whole nother story. And so even doing things like that, like without my parents, and then just figuring it out, it's just been very, very challenging. But I think like I just want to keep harping on like the growth piece. I'm now more comfortable than ever, like living on my own, taking care of myself. You know, I would say, too much consulting from my family, but I think just living this far away has just made me get real comfortable with like being uncomfortable. This is definitely the most uncomfortable I've been in my life for the longest period of time that I can remember, for sure.
Do you like your job though?
Yes. When I first started, no.
No.
I didn't like it because it was tough. It wasn't that there was anything wrong with the job or the people. I think now I really like the job. And even more than the job, I think I like the opportunities that I plan to leverage from the job. But yeah, my job is very day to day, it changes. So Monday looks different from Friday, week in and week out. So I think coming from college to that, where everything was very structured and settled, it was just a big adjustment period, bro. Like it was a very, very hard adjustment period. So,
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, for sure.
Yeah.
So Myles, what advice can you give to those people, to people who are transitioning like out of college to their field?
okay, I'll get some practical advice first, and then I think I have another, like almost like a spiritual thing that I want to say as well. But practically, I think you just have to come in and be a sponge. I think for me as an individual, I was so used to always being like the top person and the top dog. When I came to Amazon, that is literally everyone. So I have coworkers that went to MIT. I have a coworker who's written a book and he's 28. So like being in an environment where you're no longer like the alpha, I think for me, it really forced me to come in and kind of humble myself and let my pride go down and just really soak things up. I think that's the first thing. I think the second thing I would say is just to embrace adversity when you're moving, new opportunity, new place, new environment. There's going to be some type of adversity. I know you guys all laugh at me, but I don't know why I thought when I moved to Austin, like it was just going to be the greenest road ever with no drama issues, but it has been a little bit of the opposite of that. Um, so just making sure that you're comfortable with adversity. And I think also just really humbling like yourself. I think I came into this job, I have 2 degrees, I was very qualified. And I do think I did come in like a little prideful at first. And so I think I would have had more success quickly if I would have just came in and kind of asked more questions and kind of just allowed myself to be in a space where I for once really didn't know what I was doing. Spiritually, just staying close to God. I think most of you on this are familiar with Lamar Jackson, but he is the quarterback for the Ravens. And a reporter last weekend was asking him, like, how are the Ravens doing so well right now, and how are you doing so well? And he said, I've just been talking to God a little bit more. And I think that's definitely very, very true for me. I think when adjusting from college to here to like trying to find a church home here, it's been a big adjustment. And I think just talking to God throughout every scenario of all of my problems. I think it's not only just been interesting, it's really built my faith. But I don't know anyone who could move across the country with a new job, new lifestyle, and not having this faith. And I think if you try that, it'll be a very healing process. I think just for me, just talking to God a little bit more and just being more open and honest with Him about what I'm thinking and feeling.
I like that. I feel like when you move up forward spiritually, if you have your best month spiritually, then everything that's coming along in those months are gonna get easier and easier for you.
That's
I fully agree with that for sure.
I think the other thing I wanted to add on top of that too is talking to God even when things like aren't going your way. And so I think when I first like got to my job, it was such a struggle that like I think at times I was so upset at God. I was like, you know what, I didn't talk to him, and that didn't make anything better at all. So I think talking to in the good, in the bad, in the happiness, and in the frustration, I think it's something I've really like adopted. And I was like, now, even when it's going good or when it's going bad, I try to just like consult God first because when I first moved here, I was kind of doing the opposite, and I kept looking around like, what is wrong? So I think those are just like my best advice tips that I would recommend to anyone.
Okay, I like that. I'll take the next one. How would you say your career aligns with your calling?
Ooh, um, that's a very good question. Um, I would say that transparently, I feel like I'm still understanding my calling. I would be surprised if there was any 24-year-old on earth that already knew their calling at 24. So I'm not going to sit here and act like I know what it is.
True.
Um, but I think from what I can see about my calling in my job, I think where they align is I've always been a big people person. I'm not the most technical person. I'm not the best writer. I'm not the best at math, but I'm like pretty good enough at those things that like my conversation skills can really carry me forward. And so I've gotten a lot of success at my job, not by like trying to be the most tactical, but by like really building relationships. And so I think for myself, like I think my calling is something that is in front of a lot of people and kind of instructing people. But I think the interesting thing about getting there is in order to instruct, you have to be a listener first. And so I thought like I was going to come out of college, get promoted super, super quick, and then by 30, things will look like this. And I think that a lot of those things still can happen, but I think the road to them is just a lot different than what I expected, which is good. So I think my calling is definitely something people facing, something that can pull a lot of different groups of people under one message, kind of in one room, one understanding. And yeah, I definitely wouldn't say like I don't think my calling is to be like a data scientist or anything like that, but I can definitely see how like working in technology, I like the influence of working with people in like India or around the world and having to explain a message to a man in India, just like how I would do with you guys on the podcast. So I would just say something people facing for sure.
That's
Okay. So it could be helping people.
For sure.
I'm just going to helping people.
So,
I find it really interesting that like people in their 20s always think 30 is like it. Like I'm in my 30s. It's like, it's not like everything I thought in my 20s, like your 30s, you really start like
Yeah.
you really start falling into place. And that's like when you really start like figuring out who you actually are as a person. Because honestly, when you're in your 20s, especially at like 24, you guys are still kids. Like in my mind, you're still kids. So like make those mistakes, like get off of those paths and like figure it out. Like, because in your 30s, that's when things really start like when you get a more clear picture of who you actually are,
Yeah.
honestly. So yeah, like don't like cap you at 30 because you never know. Like if you get 30 and you unfortunately might not have accomplished anything, and then you start questioning like, okay, what did I do wrong in my 20s? You didn't do anything in your wrong in your 20s. Like you're a kid, you're learning still. So
Yeah.
I say just take that age limit off. So like just do it.
That's true. My brother just hit his 30s. Actually, he said that he feels like mentally, he feels like he's in his prime now because he understands so much more. But
Yes.
like physically not, but like mentally feel like he's more in his prime.
Yeah, and like
So
I have
he
like
gets
that
it.
thing where like mentally I'm just like, okay, I'm starting to figure it out a little bit better, a lot clearer. I'm just like, there's a lot of things that yes, I wish I probably should have done in my 20s, but I can do it in my 30s. I'm still really young. So yeah, don't like be like by 30, I need to have X, Y, and Z. Or because when I was like late teens, early 20s, I thought I'd be married at 27, like all those things. And I'm like, none of
Yeah.
those things. So and I'm okay with it. Like I'm
That's
perfectly
true.
fine with it.
um, just thank you for saying that, Tiana, because I think that's something not only that I needed to hear, not only from you, because I know you in real life, but like my boss has harped on me so hard about like how you can't live year by year. And so I like when I first came to Amazon, it's actually very funny. I had put together one of my first projects, like put together your 3-year plan of how you want to grow and what you want to do. I just got promoted, and I want to tell you everything on that plan is nothing happened. It's the same, nothing that I planned went the way that I planned. And so not only do I like really like that, I think the other thing is for me turning 25 this year, they say like your brain fully develops at 25. There's no way. There's no
No,
way.
it's
I'm
really
True.
weird. It really is like you hit over 26 and you're just like, okay. Like I'm starting to get like a better picture. And also like I hate those questions like with interviewing, like where do you see yourself in 5 years? I don't know. Like honestly, like that's fine. Like I do not know. Hopefully
right.
with the company, probably not though, because I have a 2-year plan. Like I do companies for 2 years and I'm gone. So,
That's true though.
No, I think that's just good advice because I think the other thing is too, and I think just talking to you guys about it just kind of explains to me. My coworkers look at me so crazy because everyone that I work with is in their 30s. And so sitting amongst a bunch of 30-year-olds and saying, yeah, I need to be here by 30, they're all always side-eyeing and looking at me. And now I'm talking to y'all, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense because at 30, I don't really even know what tomorrow looks like, y'all. I told you I'm looking like I don't even know what
I
tomorrow
don't
looks
even know what I'm about to eat for dinner tonight.
Man, for real.
exactly.
It's already 6:30.
No,
I
for
don't know
real.
what's going on.
I just think that's just good advice in general. Just to anyone that will listen to this, you don't have to have it all figured out by 25, 30. And I do truthfully think that people who even live like that, I tried to live like that. I not only wasn't happy, I was very stressed. Because when you start missing goals on the list, you start
Yep.
panicking. Okay, wait. I was supposed to be married at 27. I'm 27 in 2 days now.
Like I don't even have a boyfriend to be considered. So like those are the things like don't put like age limits or time limits on your goals because you never know where God has you and where God's going to put you because there's things that I've said and I'm just like, oh, what did I say? I always said that like I don't want to marry a pastor because I can't see myself as a first lady, but like I'm active in my church. And I'm like, God, I thought that wasn't the plan. Like I just wanted to be a member. Like the whole goal
That's true.
not to be like I just wanted to be a member in the church, just like in the back in the cut. Now I'm in these positions. So you never know.
Love that.
You just get sucked in like that.
Yeah.
It's just like that. That's crazy.
you gave me advice, and I'm going to go tell my coworkers. They're gonna be like, "Myles, what happened to you?" Like, y'all went to church yesterday, y'all. I was about 10:30. So yeah.
That's crazy. Oh man.
Yeah, so kind of following up a little bit on some of those adversities you talked about when you first were starting at Amazon, could you like walk us through how you handled a couple of those situations?
Yeah. So a lot of how I got myself out of these actually was a lot of humility. I really didn't know, transparently for all of you, I didn't really realize how prideful of a person I was until I came here. And before I came here, I wasn't really someone, I wasn't really asking for a lot of help. And I was so used to being able to struggle through something, because in college you can do that. When there's a lot of money on the line, there is no struggling through stuff. You know, my
Nope.
boss was crazy. So I was like, we start asking for help. I think the main thing though was just really like humbling myself and asking for help. So when I first got here, one of the things that like I really needed to know, and I'm just to make you laugh, because we took all the same classes. So we took that business like intelligence class that teaches you how to use Excel.
Yeah.
So I was telling my boss during my interview, I'm like, yeah, I'm real comfortable on Excel. I know how to use Excel. Well, I got to work the first day. He was like, yeah, so I'm gonna need you to do this and this on Excel. And I'm like, yeah, but they didn't teach us this. He's like, yeah, well, I thought you were a wizard. I'm like, well, not the computer talking about. And so, oh,
See,
All different
now I'm
level.
scared. Now,
All different level.
now
um,
I'm scared because I'm kind of in that same field.
no,
I'm,
you're gonna be good,
I'm a
brother. Like I said, fuck God.
hey, I'm a finance major. I'm a finance major. I just learned all that. I feel like I'm good, but I might not be.
And I mean, to be transparent, but there's no way you're gonna know that until you get out on the field. I think so.
Mhm.
What my boss did for me is when he sent me right to Khan Academy. So not trying to be funny, my boss was sending me to Khan Academy over anything. I didn't expect. I think when I came to Amazon, like I expected it to be like flying cars and robots. Khan Academy, Excel, Google, and so I like had to learn just in my own free time. He was like, you know, since you're not able to do this, I'll give you this supplementary work to work on, and then I need you to teach yourself. And so
Mhm.
kind of taught myself on Khan Academy how to like create and do different Excel functions. But I just think it was just a lot of like humility things. So I think just being able to be like, hey, I don't know. I think I thought because everyone here is so smart and so talented that saying like I don't know either meant I was dumb or that I wasn't fit for my job. And my boss, after I finally told him, he was like, you know, I was just gonna let you struggle until you say it. He was like, because man, like my boss has he undergrad and MBA at Northwestern, MicroMasters from Harvard. And so you would think like one of the smartest men in America, which he probably is, but he was like, Myles, you don't know how many times a day like I struggle. I have to ask for help. I have to ask questions. And so I think seeing somebody that I look up to say like I need help, I think made it cool for me to just be like, okay, I need help. On top of that though, like also just being like very, very faithful, because I think we all know there are situations you get in where Khan Academy isn't enough. And for me, like I've had different situations in work where like something's broken. Me and so what I do for my job is we're delivery station regional support. So the people that deliver you guys your packages, they come out of a delivery station. Me and my team work on basically making that process to get you your package like more efficient, more cost friendly. When things break, Myles can't fix that like by myself. And so like realizing that I'm like head over my heels in the situation, and that like I'm literally going to need God to do something supernatural to like get me through it, because I can't do it. And so just being more faithful. But I think for any talented young person that gets the opportunity to work at like KC, Amazon, you're in a master's program, maybe you're looking for a job, it's a lot of humility. Like jumping from college to the workplace, 4.0s do not translate into more money on your paycheck. They don't translate into you for this job and kill it. And I think I thought like, oh, I want this amount of money, and because I did this well in school, this is going to be easy. And what? Couldn't have been the opposite. So I would just say that. But like, what about you, Dom? Because I know like for you working at KC, like, and I know you do a lot of the same stuff. But like, what would you say?
Yeah. Definitely a lot of the same things you said. It's an adjustment. It's an adjustment from college. Kind of, we were in the same classes. You can put your head down and you can get through it. Like you didn't it didn't take that much. Like you get in the workforce, they start asking you some things, and you start seeing the
Get up
numbers
on that
correlated.
field.
Yeah, you start seeing the numbers correlating. You're like, oh, okay. That's $100,000. I better ask before somebody looking at me. So yeah, that humility is huge, huge. You really got to get over the like. There's no dumb question because a dumb question that's costly mistakes.
Man,
It's not grades anymore.
That's true.
It's real life.
I think the other thing that's also been good for me that like I've had to learn and pick up on, I think this is actually translated like one of my personal life. This is the most accountable I've ever been in my life. So like
Have to.
we all have jobs. Like you just said, in college when you didn't do the homework, it's like, well, the dog ate my homework. I'll either redo it or just take my zero. When
Yeah.
there's $100,000 on the line, there is no dog ate my homework. Now,
No.
also, boss got questions.
Yeah.
Like it just forced me to be accountable. My director doesn't take like dog ate my homework type of answers. He will take a like I messed up, but he's not taking I don't know. I wasn't aware. And so now I'm just used to jumping in the fire, saying what I messed up and just taking the brunt of the action versus I used to be like, well, Dom didn't do his piece either.
Yeah. Exactly.
I'm not talking to Dom right now. And I'm like, oh, so,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think being really accountable for you, yourself, your actions. And I think when you're accountable for what you do in work, it starts to translate into your personal life. Because then you start thinking like, well, I won't keep dealing with X, Y, and Z if I just make better decisions. And so I think it just forced me to like, when I make a decision, even a risky one, just being able to stand on it and say, hey, I made this decision because I thought it was the best one. It might have been right or wrong, it might have been wrong, but like these half-hearted decisions, that'll have you out of a job very quickly.
Wait. Wait.
Yeah. That's something I'm trying to get better at, just eating up that pride for sure. That's definitely I think it was a process, but I'm much better at it now.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm very, very prideful, I would say.
I think to give you more transparency for me, that like this didn't happen, bro, even by necessarily putting me in any like work. This has happened for me naturally, like so
Yeah.
naturally over time. I think when my pride started brushing up against reality too much, I was like, yeah, this ain't gonna keep working because I'm looking dumb. Like I'm very prideful. Everybody, this isn't working out well at all. So I think like those things didn't happen for me at 20, 21. I was starting to just figure it out. Like now at 24, turning 25 next month, I'm just now starting to be able to say, like, I'm not as prideful. But I think kind of like what we're talking about, that didn't happen for me overnight, brother. That happened from a lot of L's of I'm being prideful, and now I realize it because I'm being punished in some way. You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense. Okay, I like that. I'm gonna take it. I take that. I'm taking that in. I'm taking that in for sure. I'm taking that one in.
So I have a question on like how do you create balance with people in your life who may not share the same faith as you?
Ooh. Y'all got some, I just want to say before I keep going, you guys got some great questions.
We cooked up a little bit.
No, for real. I got a couple different ways. I got a couple, I guess, different ways that I approach this. So just try to be open-minded because I think in working with people, you never know what people have been through, what people have seen. And so I think like in both settings, in my personal life and in work, but kind of more heavily in work, I try not to like shun people that aren't very faithful or that aren't even Christians. One of the best lessons that I've learned is moving on my own. You can learn from anybody. And so I try not to let like faith or anything be a barrier for me with relationships because I have a coworker who's a Muslim. He has taught me more than anyone else on my job. I've never looked at his faith and my faith and felt like they were clashing or that there was anything wrong. And I mean, frankly, we've had very seldom conversations about that. But I think in that setting, especially, I try to be more open-minded. I think in my personal life, I also attempt to be the same way, but I think because it's my personal life, I'm gonna be real. I don't want a bunch of unfaithful, unfocused, if I gotta put in front of you, I don't really want it around me. And so I think for when I look at my personal life, I do have a bunch of friends that I would say either aren't Christians or don't have very high faith, but I think I've learned just with age how to balance what I talk about with them. And I'm gonna also be real. If we're good friends, but faith isn't something that we can't talk about. I just don't know how many conversations that we're gonna have because, like me and my friends, we can talk about sports, we can talk about faith, and then we can talk about the real world side of things, issues right now. And so I think in a work setting, I'm more open-minded. I think in my personal life, I'm also open-minded as well. But I just think, um, you know, time is money. The people around you, the average of them is who you are. And so I don't think I would ever purposely stun someone out and not be their friend or not be cool with them because we're not faithful. But I'm gonna just be real. If you're not faithful and you got other red flags, I probably don't want to talk to you. I'm not gonna lie.
It's true. I'm with that. I'm with that for sure. I definitely had to cut out a lot of people that just wasn't fit for my lifestyle. I feel like, or just it's a hard thing to really come about. But like I don't know. You feel better ever since. I feel like.
I will be real with y'all. Ever since I changed my friend group, my life has been a 360. I I changed the level that I was working at. I got my promotion sooner because when I got new friends and my priorities changed, it was like, wow, so I should be spending more time at work working on these things even after hours. And I literally feel like not surrounding myself with certain people brought some of my like successes quicker because my previous friend groups, although we had a lot of common socially, like they just weren't people that I was gonna be able to spend the next 10 years of my life with.
Okay. Okay. Let me see. I think I'm with the next question. Let me see. Let's see if we cook up one more question for you. Let's see. Is there a topic that you wanted to like discuss or like advice you want to give to our listeners or anything like that? Like anything on your mind?
Yeah. So yeah, this is the one thing I did kind of want to talk about with y'all, and to every listener. So I really feel like moving to Austin was like a big wilderness season for me. And I've been in a place where it was like very uncomfortable. Everything was very unfamiliar. And I think what I just want to kind of tell everyone is just like embrace the wilderness because I think I got here, I tried to fight it for the first year. Life turned into a roller coaster. And now, as I'm finally coming down that hill, I can see how, like, if I would have just committed to myself on the first day and just said it was hard, I'm way out of my league. God, I need you. I need help. I don't think everything would have been perfect, but I think that my circumstances would have been a lot different. So I think for anyone that feels like they're kind of in the wilderness, I mean, you can be in the wilderness in a familiar place, but I think really just embrace that time because I think I use this time not only to get fit, like physically, but also like mentally. I think this has really like forced me to grow up, be more responsible, more mature, more accountable. And so I think these are all things that happened because I moved. I don't think being in my specific circumstances, staying in Lansing with my same group of friends, doing all the stuff that I was doing, it just was never going to get me through. And so I just really wanted to say, because I listened to a bunch of different podcasts and pastors and writers and people talk about like the wilderness and how different people in the Bible go through it. Like it is a very uncomfortable space. Even still being in it, I still don't want to be in it. But I think for anyone that's in it, you really need to embrace it because I think the thing that I can see is like as I feel like I'm slowly starting to come out of it, the opportunities are literally waiting for me to walk up. Like I literally just need to walk to them. But I think if I would have kept wrestling and trying to live two different lifestyles and trying to do two different things, man, I just don't think I would be here. So I just really wanted to kind of like emphasize that wilderness piece. And like, if you feel like you're in that space, it's common, it's normal. I'm sure we all have gone through it more than once. And so I just wanted to give somebody some encouragement today on that because I think when I first moved, I was in the wilderness and I was like, God, this really means me in the forest and it was dark and upstairs. So help me. Really.
Like that.
Hey man.
Perfect answer. Perfect answer.
Y'all ever
Hey
been in the
man.
wilderness? Y'all feel me? Or y'all think I'm crazy?
No,
No,
that's
I know exactly what you mean.
yeah. I think everybody should like leave their hometown at some point in their life.
Yeah.
You figure out who they actually are as a person, like when you don't have that influence of family and that
Mhm.
familiarity. Uh, so I think
I'm
that's
sure you felt much better even when you just went to Central and left Lansing for a little bit.
Uh,
I know that right there, even though it was only an hour and 10 minutes, I know that was a lot. Because trust me, when I went to Western 2 years ago, I was like, whoa, like it feels way better being able to go to the grocery store and nobody knows you there. Like that fresh start is amazing. Like, it's really amazing.
they say like the analogy of goldfish, but it's hard for a goldfish to reach its true size in the fish world. Like when you look at goldfish in the wild, and then when you look at
Mhm.
they're way small. So like sometimes you got to get out there, man, to grow.
Yeah, I'm with that for sure.
Absolutely.
Oh shoot.
So the last thing we got for you, is there any ways that our listeners can contact you?
Oh yeah, 100. I can send First Lady my all of my contact information, but my email address is my first name, last name 45. So Myles Baker, MylesBaker 45 at Gmail. I think my LinkedIn is Myles Baker 1. And anyone, if you need some support, you can definitely reach out to me. And I definitely want to help people that felt like they were in my shoes a couple of years ago, just making transitions in the real world. So you can always hit me up. Please don't hit me up after like
And thank you, Myles, for joining us. Dom, Devin,
Yes,
it was a pleasure to see you guys.
always.